I never expected to become the villain in a suburban war story, but when armed HOA officers barged into my yard with bogus authority, barking orders and threatening my family, I didn't call a lawyer. I didn't call the police. I handled it myself, with a little brute force. The trouble begins. We live in a quiet neighborhood in Central Texas. A couple of acres, plenty of space, and unfortunately, a very aggressive homeowners association. This wasn't your average HOA. They had uniforms, radios, a marked golf cart labeled Compliance Enforcement Unit. They gave out citations like candy and fined a guy $250 for a misaligned basketball hoop. The president, Craig Belmont, took his position way too seriously. He wore combat boots with his khakis and referred to himself as Commander Belmont. No, I'm not joking. I mostly kept to myself. I'm a welder by trade, built my own shop in the backyard. My property line is marked clearly, and I've lived here long before the HOA was formed. I'm grandfathered in, meaning they don't have any real jurisdiction over my land. But that didn't stop them from trying. The fake violations. It started small, notes on my door about unregistered outbuildings and non-compliant fencing. I ignored them. Then came the fines, which I also ignored. I knew they were unenforceable without a court order. The last straw, they claimed I was harboring unauthorized livestock. I own 3 chickens. 3. And the HOA bylaws they tried to cite? From a completely different subdivision, I sent them a cease and desist. Craig responded with a letter threatening involuntary enforcement action. I figured it was just more bluster. I was wrong. The invasion. Saturday morning, I was working in the shop when I heard shouting from the backyard. My wife came running in, panicked. "They're in our yard," she yelled. I ran outside and saw them. 4 men in matching uniforms, all with radios, 2 holding what looked like batons. They'd kicked open the side gate and were stomping across my lawn toward the chicken coop. "What the hell are you doing on my property?" I shouted. One of them, a tall guy with sunglasses and a clipboard, replied, "This area is out of compliance. We're executing HOA Directive 12B. Step aside." I laughed. "Get off my land before someone gets hurt." He stepped forward and poked me with the clipboard. "You're interfering with an enforcement operation." And that's when I snapped. Brute force, baby. I'm 6 feet 2 inches, 220 pounds, and I grew up on a ranch. I don't go looking for fights, but if you show up on my land with a fake badge and start throwing your weight around, I will respond. I grabbed the guy by the collar and shoved him backward. He stumbled into a flower bed, arms flailing. The baton guys raised their hands like they were about to charge. Big mistake. I charged first. Grabbed the nearest one by the shoulder and flipped him over using his own momentum, just like my old high school wrestling coach taught me. He landed with a grunt. The other guy hesitated, then ran straight into a garden rake I had leaned against the fence. Didn't hit him hard, just enough to knock him down and ruin his pride. The last guy bolted for the gate. My wife, meanwhile, was filming the entire thing from the patio. The consequences. 10 minutes later, the sheriff arrived. The HOA had called 911 claiming I'd assaulted peace officers. But I showed the deputy the video, the busted lock on my gate, and the threatening letters. He chuckled and said, "These yahoos really thought they had police powers." All 4 were charged with trespassing, assault, and impersonating public officials. The HOA president, Craig, tried to deny involvement until someone leaked his emails authorizing the intervention. He resigned under pressure a week later. As for the HOA compliance unit, disbanded permanently. The aftermath. We hosted a barbecue the next weekend. A bunch of neighbors came. Most of them had their own horror stories. We shared a laugh and toasted to the downfall of Craig, the commandant. My shopsy's still standing. My chickens are still clucking. And I installed motion-triggered sprinklers just in case anyone else gets any bright ideas. Moral of the story? If you walk onto a man's land swinging a fake badge, you'd better be ready for a real response.